Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of Darker with Daniel. Let's get it started. Starting out with a little bit of some sad news this week. Absolute legend, Pennsylvania native Kobe Bryant passed away this following Sunday. This past Sunday, the 26th, in just a tragedy of a helicopter crash. He died at the age of 41 with his daughter. They were on
terrible.
It's just awful news. I mean, the amount of stuff that's happened in the past 4 days is just absolutely crazy.
Dude, there was so much. I mean, we were just talking about, we were kind of like going through like some of the things, and we were like, well, you know, there's so much happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do you want to tackle first?
Yeah, and then that was when we realized, we're like, oh my God, this has all happened since Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, I don't know. Also, side note, Alan is out sick this week. That's
Yes,
why
he
you
is.
probably noticed Chris is up here in the front. Hunter is back there behind the screen. Good long-term buddy of mine. We've been friends since we were 10 years old. So we kind of threw this together last minute, moving things
Decided,
around.
You know what? We'll keep it going.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we started, so might as well keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's cool to come hang out.
Yeah,
Just chill.
Thank you for that, by the way, man. I appreciate it because we gave you absolutely no notice. Like, the original plan was Hunter to come in here and just, like, kind of check everything out.
Right.
Because I've been telling you about it. And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, Alan's sick. You want
Will
to
you fill in?
you want to fill in for Chris while Chris fills in for Alan?
Hopefully you got it figured out by now.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I mean, you're probably one of the smartest computer people I know. Like, so there's that. But back to the Kobe thing. He was born in Philadelphia, drafted, I believe, right out of high school for the.
I didn't know he was from Pennsylvania.
Yep. Well,
I
he
was really-
just outside of Philly, I believe. I guess.
That's crazy. I didn't know that at all. I just always assumed he was, I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
like a California native.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of California natives that. Well, I mean, that sounds stupid at face value. A lot of like
Yeah, there's
famous
a lot of people from California. Yeah.
Yeah, no, just a lot of like
A lot
I
of
don't know, famous people that were just, I don't know, from California. I guess there's a lot of opportunity out there. But yeah, he was from Pennsylvania. And it's funny because I forgot about that. Literally just a few weeks ago, me and somebody were talking about how many famous people are actually from Pennsylvania. Like, who else was? I think Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, there's tons of them.
Yeah, Taylor Swift, Mac Miller, Wiz Khalifa.
Who was the kid that voiced Simba in the original Lion King?
Oh,
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
what a
Is that
name.
it?
I would.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
if that's
he
fact
was
or not. But
he was from Pennsylvania.
oh, really?
I think near Bethlehem.
There's no way I would have known that.
Yeah.
What was it? Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah. From he played the one kid on Home Improvement
Oh.
Oh,
with
yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
That makes
yeah.
sense. Okay. Yeah, so Brian, a.k.a. Black Mamba, he retired in 2016. I believe he's about to be putting this out there. I'm not a basketball fan, really,
I'm not
at
either.
all. Like, I'll watch it if people are watching it. I don't know. I wasn't really a sports person until a few years ago. I've been like...
I've watched people play a lot of Y2K. If that.
Yeah? Yeah, I've watched a lot of that, too. Yeah, I don't know. Mostly just watch football. But, yeah, I mean, I believe he's about to be put into the... Hall of Fame. I mean, he deserves it. He's up there.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually also talking about, the like NBA symbol, with like the official NBA logo, where it's the silhouette of somebody dribbling a basketball. Like you would know, it's on like every.
Yeah.
It's on every single official jersey.
I mean, I know what you're
basketball,
talking
yeah.
about. I just can't picture
It's just a silhouette. You if you saw it, you'd be like, oh, that. Oh God, I can't remember the guy's original name, but he was also a Laker, and people are petitioning to have Kobe Bryant become the new official silhouette for the NBA, actually.
I mean, he should be.
Yeah, and a lot of people are actually for it, and I'm totally for it. I don't see why we shouldn't do that. It's a good way to honor him. Like I said, I mean, the person that it is now was originally a Laker, so it's like he's passing the torch on to Kobe. So, but yeah, it's just an awful tragedy. Just wanted to bring that up out there. Obviously, I hate to start on like a sad note. It's only gonna go up from here, but just wanted to pay respects too.
It's only going to go up to like the coronavirus.
Yeah.
That's a really good topic to just jump right from that tragedy to
Jumping from tragedy to tragedy. I don't know.
We're just like the news. We keep it depressing.
Yeah.
only cover the bad stuff.
So yeah, I just want to bring that up. Pay respects to him, especially like I said, absolute legend, and like I said, Pennsylvania native. That's pretty crazy. But moving on to other things, coronavirus.
Do you have it?
Man.
Yeah, do you have it? You probably don't know.
Yeah, I don't know because what you can't.
Hunter, would you say earlier it takes 2 to 5 days or 2 to 10 or something?
You can be, as far as I know, you can be contagious for 2 to 5, potentially up to 10 days without knowing that you have any symptoms or
So
signs.
meanwhile, you're spreading it around to everybody.
Right. Yeah.
And then.
And it spreads like the flu or any other virus where it goes through
mucous membranes.
Mucous
You
membranes.
can get in your eyes, your nose, your mouth. Yeah.
Jeez, I need to start.
That's why you see people with full face masks. They've got safety glasses on. Yeah.
Oh my!
Well,
I haven't seen that actually, but I'm gonna. Yeah, I also need to make sure I'm washing my hands as much as possible. I mean, I do. I'm a clean person, but
what did they say that? How many people was it that were infected?
It is up to 213 dead and over 9,300 confirmed cases.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a. I saw earlier. Just through social media, there was a cruise ship. I believe it was an Italian cruise ship of like 7,000 passengers, and it had to be quarantined because they thought they had an outbreak on it. Turns out it was a false alarm. But yeah,
that would be terrifying, dude.
Could you imagine that? That's like a movie, like Death Ship. You know.
Well, and whenever they do the quarantine, you don't know how long that'll be for.
Right.
I mean,
or who in the quarantine has it.
Yeah.
So like everybody that thinks they don't have it is probably hiding from the person they think does have it.
And well, that's the thing too. Then you're trapped in with the person that does have it too.
Well, think about the city they shut down in China is 11 million people. Imagine that.
Yeah, that's
nobody in or out.
Horrifying. That's absolutely horrifying.
Did you see that that meme that was going around with about the company that studies like viruses,
the Raccoon City
thing?
Yeah, I did see. Do any of you guys know if there's any like truth behind if that company's actually there, or if that's just
I have no
somebody's
idea.
making that up?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't really care.
But it is kind of funny, Corona.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's scary. I mean, there's 213 officially dead and confirmed over 9,300 confirmed cases. But like, I remember as a kid hearing about bird flu, and it scared the absolute shit out of me. Like, I was horrified. I had to have like my parents comforting me because I thought it was going to kill me. And then there was bird flu, and then there was swine flu, then there was Ebola.
Well, before that, you had mad cow.
Yeah, you had mad cow in there. But was mad cow?
Every bird you see, you're just screaming as a kid.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'm gonna get bird flu.
I saw a fucking dead bird, and like I was horrified. I was like started crying to my parents. I was like 8 years old, I think. Like that was but. I don't want to sound. I'm not saying I don't believe it. I'm just like I think it's gonna probably fizzle out. I don't know.
I mean, there's one thing that's like kind of scary that people never talk about, but it's very real. Is the what is it called? The toxic waste or whatever the thing that chronic wasting disease. And it's like, why doesn't anybody ever talk about that? But that's like a big deal. It's you know what it is.
I do know what it is.
Maybe you can explain better.
My girlfriend does actually work in that department at the Pennsylvania Game Commission.
Oh.
Chronic wasting disease is found mostly in deer. I really hope I get this right because she's probably going to listen to this.
Yeah, it is mostly in deer. That's about all I know.
It's very similar to mad cow disease. It's a prion. No idea what a prion is. And
I think it's like a strain of disease or something.
It
just causes deterioration, and they go basically crazy. I mean, and it's passed through saliva. So the big issue is with like deer farms, people that raise deer domestically, but they normally have wire fences where other deer, deer can interact with them. So if they're harboring a deer with CWD, they can be passing it along to thousands of other deer that are passing by.
Salt rocks a thing with those two, where like people put out like a giant block of salt for the deer to lick or something because it attracts them?
Salt blocks are really associated with cows mostly, but
oh really?
People do like an issue we're having with our neighbor is feeding like hard feed corn out for the deer, but they're like drawing them out of the woods into the road, and they're getting hit by cars, obviously.
Okay.
But like you get 9 or 10 deer all feeding off the same corn, it would only take one
to spread it.
Right.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's wild. Oh my god!
But I just like I was reading about it a little bit last night, and I was just like, holy crap! Like, I mean, I've heard of it before, but I never actually like looked into it, and I just briefly looked into it, barely enough to just enough to graze the surface. But I was like looking at it, I was like, geez, like, why does nobody ever talk about that? It's like a big deal. Like they they have like entire they have like
they have DMAs where it's a disease management area.
So what
they literally cover, they'll take a whole county and put a DMA on it, where anything that is shot within that county you have to report when you turn in your deer tag. And technically you're supposed to, and not everybody does. You're supposed to cut the head off and you take the head to a box. I'm not kidding you. It is like a community aid drop box, you know, like the metal bins. So you put the head in a bag with your tag on it. You put the head in and you push the thing shut and it just goes boom.
And they test it?
So they take the lymph nodes out and they test the lymph nodes, and then they tell you whether the meat is good to eat or not, because they're not sure if it's transmissible between species.
Okay, that was going to be my next question is, what is the threat? Is it just like mad cow disease where it only passes from... Well, I thought mad cow disease only went from cow to cow, and it was just a threat of eradicating...
They think this is potentially an alteration of mad cow disease moving between species. So that's why they're saying, don't eat the meat until you get it tested.
Wow.
Because it's potential to move between species.
Oh, my God. I don't really eat like venison much anyways. I don't hunt, but...
I do. I eat a lot of it now.
Yeah, I like it. Like, and here's the thing. Like, I've been saying this for years. I've never hunted my entire life. I always wanted to when I was a kid. But, like, one of my first passions in the world is, like, animals. I always wanted to be a vet when I was a kid. Right. I love animals. And I just, like, I'm not, no offense, I'm not a PETA nut or anything like that. I don't have a problem with anybody hunting. I just don't know if I could pull the trigger myself unless it was like a situation where I needed the meat or something. And the way I look at it, I don't really need it, and I will eat it if somebody gives me some. If I could buy it in a store, I absolutely would. But I don't know. I couldn't do it myself,
Well, I'd watched a thing where there was a guy who had a restaurant, and he would take orders from people, and he'd like come up with a menu. He was a chef. Mm-hmm. But he would actually take orders like, do you want duck or do you want this? And he'd pick like 3 things that he was going to make that week. Mm-hmm. And people would put their orders in. He'd actually take Monday and Tuesday to go hunting and get the game. Then he would butcher it and make it. And like on, I don't know, it was like Thursday night or Friday night or whatever was, he was open all day just doing dinners and lunches, and it was kind of cool.
So it's not just made to order, it's literally like hunt to order.
Yeah, like hunt to order, yeah.
Jesus, I wonder how much you have to pay for that. That can't be cheap.
I have no idea.
Oh, my God.
But
wow.
It was kind of crazy. I just thought I'd throw that in
if
there.
It's a passion of his.
$1.25
for
the bullet I'm going to use. Yeah.
But I mean, for something like that, it's not like he's not, he's doing it in a... respectful way and everything.
Right.
He's like, this is kind of how they used to do it, so that's what he wanted to do, and kind of carries a tradition over to modern times. I always think that's cool.
Have you ever smelt what duck smells like when you screw up cooking it?
No.
Oh God. When I was in high school, I was a dishwasher at like a 5-star restaurant, and they did, is it duck or is it lamb meat? Is it, I don't know, but what? I'm pretty sure it's duck. If you fuck up cooking that, I've never smelled a worse smell in my entire life.
You can definitely confuse duck with lamb meat for sure.
I've never heard of that.
They're so similar when you,
I've never heard of that for either.
Are you being facetious?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, they're not two common meats. I don't know.
I've never heard of that, but
maybe I'm pretty sure it's lamb, actually. I don't know. Fuck it.
But I mean, it doesn't seem unreasonable.
Yeah, no, I just remember that was like, I was back in the kitchen. I just literally, like, the smell made me sick, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, it smelled like the sewage system backed up into the oven. It was awful. And I was like, what the fuck is that smell? They're like, it's somebody fucked up cooking lamb or duck. I don't remember what it was.
If that's what it smells like when you fuck cooking it up, how does it smell good when you don't fuck cooking it up? Because I don't know that I've ever cooked meat that it smelled like dog shit and then smelled good afterwards.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if they were like cooking it with something else, like cooking it with a wine or something. I don't know, but they fucked up something, and it was just absolutely awful. It may not have
been meat specific. It may have just been they just fucked up the whole process.
No, I mean, it was that specific meat, the way that they cooked it. If you fuck it up, it's awful. But, I mean, I've had it, and it is delicious when you don't mess it up. So it's kind of it's kind of like sushi. You know, it's worth the risk. I don't know.
I don't think.
I don't know about that.
No, I mean,
there is a big difference.
I'll leave it to the professionals. I'll put it that way.
There is a big difference between the taste of wild game meat and farmed meat, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
I think that's a big thing with people eating venison for the first time. Is just there's a gaminess to it that you don't get with like just farmed beef.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, that's like the difference between like, fast food beef and regular beef is, I was working with a dairy cow or a dairy farm.
I didn't know you worked with a dairy cow.
I was working with a dairy farm one time at work, and I asked him, I was like, what do you do with your dairy cows once they get old and stop, producing and getting, they're going to pass away eventually. Do you just discard them or what? He's like, no, we just sell them off in bulk, and they're sent to be slaughtered, and then that meat is ground up into McDonald's burgers.
The meat is not good quality meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Typically, that's the same thing with chickens. You raise chickens specifically for meat, and you raise chickens specifically for eggs, and you don't normally.
Oh, I didn't know that. So the other ones get turned into chicken nuggets then.
Well, I mean, hens lay eggs for a long time, and once they're old, like, you don't want to eat that meat.
Yeah, that's also true. Who the fuck ever thought of veal? How did that ever happen? Honestly, no, I want to know who's.
I think maybe.
How did milk start? We're going down a rabbit hole. I don't even want the answers to any of those questions.
Not down the rabbit hole.
Oh my god!
The last episode was down the rabbit hole, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Everything was a rabbit hole.
It always becomes.
This
a rabbit
entire
hole.
show is a rabbit hole.
We should have a segment called Down the Rabbit Hole.
I'm into that.
But not today.
So wait, can we go back to the original? What was it called again? The deer thing.
CWD. It's
CWD.
Chronic wasting disease.
So what's the potential threat right now? Do they think it could, do they think it could go into humans, or do they think that
there's not enough research to know whether it can cross species? They think it originated from mad cow disease just because it's a very similar issue.
No, do they fear that it could kill off a large portion of deer, or?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why they're making disease management areas specifically where you have to have them tested.
That's crazy. They have you cut off the head, because don't most people keep that as like a trophy?
Yes, if you get a really good buck,
yeah,
you'll keep it. She killed one the head. She just kept the antlers off of it.
Okay.
You can do different mounts on the heads.
Yeah, I've seen all sorts of different stuff.
If the option is potentially eat meat that's going to infect you with a disease that you don't know what it's going to do, or not mount the head of the buck that you got this year, I think you're going to get it tested.
Yeah, definitely. So back to coronavirus. 213 dead, 9,300 confirmed cases. You said it was first case was probably back around 2015-ish?
Yeah. As far as I read, there was a reported case in 2015 they thought they had contained, but obviously at the time they didn't know what it was. They hadn't named it or anything. But I'm just amazed that they've gone this long without actually creating a vaccine or doing any treatment. If they knew that something that was this crazy and this widespread could happen, I'm surprised they didn't take any precaution for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I could just be talking on my ass. I don't know.
I think all of any viewers know that we're not experts on anything that we talk about.
I do know a lot of times whenever it comes to this kind of stuff is one of the biggest things that they're always battling is, when they first find out that this is happening, it's generally already gone beyond it's already a problem.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that happens because people are like, well, half of them are like, well, I don't think it's that, so let's not worry everybody. And then the other half's like, well, no, it there's a high possibility it could be, and if you let it go and it is, then you're screwed, and it ends up going beyond that part because politics. It's great.
Yeah.
I think that's why you get the knee-jerk reaction of the quarantines is just, if you don't know, why risk it?
Yeah, that's also true.
So do you know how they keep everyone, how do they run a quarantine? How does that work?
I actually
is it kind of like what you think,
I think
zombie apocalypse type deal, or
if you mean how do they physically contain the people?
Yeah, because I know plenty of people that if someone, no matter what it was, if they told them, they'd be like, oh hell no, I ain't doing that.
Right.
Can you hold them against their will? Can you imprison them? Technically, I guess.
Are you in China? Because that's the question here. What country are you in?
Oh,
they can physically contain you if they want, if you're in a country like China.
Yeah.
Communism.
But I mean, if they just block off a whole city of 11 million people, you don't really have an option.
Yeah,
that's true.
So how do they?
But I think they're
how do they block off the entire? Is it like a Simpsons giant glass dome? Like,
as far as I saw, they just blocked off the main roads in and out, just with police vehicles.
That's are people like still going to work, or is it just like a ghost town? Everybody just stays
No.
in?
There's just nobody on the streets. They're actually spraying the streets with disinfectant. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
Where's this at? This
is in the. I want to say it's Uwu.
Oh yeah.
I don't know exactly
okay.
how. Yeah, it's the city.
The city that
in
okay.
China. They're actually spraying. There was video of police spraying the streets with disinfectant. I don't know if that's doing anything. I don't know. If
crazy.
Are they like wearing biohazard suits and stuff, or
everybody I saw in the videos is wearing a mask and glasses and a full suit? Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's horrifying. I mean, it at the end of the day, it's still scary because that's something it could literally wipe humans off the face of the earth. I mean, the bubonic plague killed 75% of the population, or something like that.
Yep, and they're saying that actually I'd have to kind of go back and look, but there was also scientists had dug a core of ice and out of a glacier, and they were looking at. They said it was like a time machine. They were able to go back and look, and they had like something like 60 unidentified viruses in it. And it's crazy.
Yeah, we should definitely do that more.
Right, because
let's pull those out and let's fuck around with those a little bit more.
Right. Well, I mean, we're naturally doing that. You know, with global warming. Like it's melting, and they said like they already knew that a lot of viruses and stuff were linked to global warming. They didn't have an exact direct line of how. They just knew, and then it was when they found that core, they were like, "Holy crap!
Yeah,
this is probably how."
Yeah. Well, it's like what, North Sentinel Island, the island of the tribe. Do you know? Any of you guys know about that? North Sentinel Island. It's an island out. I honestly can't remember where in the world, but there's a tribe on it that's been completely undisturbed for I think over I don't know 50 years.
Is that the nuclear tribe?
No, that's the one. It's like if you get close, they'll storm the beach and start shooting you with arrows. Like the last person that tried to get close, or tried to get on the island actually got shot with an arrow, and they had to like go in there with the military to retrieve his body and everything like that.
Why is that? Is that because
that's fucking metal?
If I'm not mistaken, and
you probably are,
I probably am. So since that island is so secluded and they've had no contact with like outer world, the common cold can kill them because their immune systems aren't built for that. And I believe what happened was years ago, like an excursion went out there and somebody got sick and it started to kill off their population. So that's why they're so hostile.
Okay,
toward.
That makes sense.
So somebody came in and literally gave them the plague of the cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And like that's still a real thing that's
happening. I would
happening.
murder that person on the beach too.
Well, no, it wasn't that person.
No. But if I saw someone else coming and the last time somebody came, they gave us the fucking plague, I would probably murder that person.
Yeah, they just don't have an immunity.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If that's the only interaction I ever had with somebody, I would probably kill the next person I saw too.
Yeah. And they're like completely undisturbed. You know, it's a wild thing. But let's take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few with some other updates on new exciting things. Like I said, so much stuff's happened in the last 4 days.
A lot.
There's so much stuff. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right. All right. So MCR, My Chemical Romance.
Dude.
One of my favorite bands from childhood. And also, another favorite band, All Time Low. We're going to see them this weekend.
I know.
I'm excited about that. Really excited about that. It's like our childhood is making a comeback.
Coming back.
And it's like, it's dude, oh God, I'm so happy. It's like, it's probably what people who like Motley Crue and stuff felt like whenever they took their break and came back. I don't know.
Dude, I kind of felt like that when Hawthorne Heights like disappeared for a minute and then came back and played that like one show, and then I think they've still been doing sporadic shows since then. I'm
gonna be honest. I like Hawthorne Heights. I never really got that big into them, and people are always like, "You don't like Hawthorne Heights?" And I'm like, I do. I just never got that big into them.
My inner sad kid.
I know. Well, how do you feel, or how do you think I feel when people go, I don't like All Time Low, or have never even heard of Cute Is What We Aim For?
I mean, I was never huge on Cute Is What We Aim For, but
I love
I respect them.
Yeah. Yeah. But back to I had to cut myself off for a second. My Chemical Romance, their tour starts September 9th, and I believe it goes through March, and they're playing in Philadelphia.
Just fuck all the other places.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
are we gonna go see them?
Yeah, tickets go on sale tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna buy a ticket.
Dude, we need to get a couple.
No, absolutely. I mean, me and Luke bought 8 tickets for All Time Low, so probably I don't. Well, I guess it depends on the ticket prices for this, though.
Do you have 6 friends?
Yeah, I didn't know you had any friends.
Why you got to put me on the spot like that, man?
Can you name them? At least first names.
Chris, Hunter, Alan, Chris, Hunter, Alan. Yeah, no, their tour starts September 9th, and they're playing in New Zealand, Australia, Japan, the UK, all across Europe, Canada, Russia, and 15 U.S. states.
When are they playing? Is it U.S. first?
No, I think it actually starts in New Zealand and then goes to Australia, then Japan, and then they're yeah, they're like I think
it's a worldwide tour.
Yeah, basically. I mean, dude, they disbanded and were I guess broke up in 2013. So
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
disbanded makes them sound like bandits. Like
yeah, I know, right?
What do you think brought it back? What do you think? I always wonder that because
I
remember
what was the spark that caused it.
I remember I went to see Under Oath, and I remember they weren't doing anything for a while, and then they came back and played, and I went to see them, and it was like the third to last date of their tour, and they stopped and they came out and they were like, we just want to let you guys know, like they huddled for a minute. They're like, we just wanted to let you guys know we were talking about before the show started tonight, but after tonight we made our decision. We're going to keep going. And everybody was like, holy crap. Like, Under Oath.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I like Under Oath. Is Aaron Gillespie back in that band?
I have no idea.
I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of Aaron Gillespie anymore. I loved him in Under Oath. I loved him in...
I loved them.
What was his other band?
But they were one of those bands I never, super followed. I went to that show because, I never saw them.
Yeah, no, not to sound like a fucking hipster. Like, I got into them whenever they first came out. And I liked them then. I didn't really keep up with their newer albums and stuff, until they, I guess, took a break or whatever. But what was the band Aaron Gillespie went and started? The Almost, wasn't it?
Dude,
I think so.
I don't know. I'm so bad with names of people and names with bands. I mean,
yeah. Well,
some of my favorite bands I can't remember the name of.
Yeah, one of my old friends I went to church with, Zaid's brother Levi.
Yeah,
he went and saw Under Oath. He was a huge fan of Under Oath,
which is weird.
Hello. I mean, everybody. I mean, they were a Christian band.
Yeah. That's actually the only reason I know who they are. My brother.
Yeah.
Really into them. That's the only reason I actually listened to them was just through basically force. But
yeah.
But I didn't think they were bad. I just don't. It's not my genre.
Yeah, you were never really into metal or hardcore like me and Ryan were or anything like that. Funny side note, remember Ryan used to have an early ending, he used to have their shirt stapled to his wall?
Yep.
Yeah, that's rock mail. If you haven't noticed that yet. An early ending, the guys from an early ending started rock mail, right?
Oh shit, that's awesome.
I mean obviously Logan, but
Logan, Greg, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. Basically, yeah. If you walk out in that hallway there, you'll see a ton of their old stuff. But yeah, anyway, so Levi went to see, went and saw Under Oath, got everybody's signature except for Aaron because he had left the band, and he went to see the Almost, and he brought his Under Oath shirt. He had every single signature on it except for Aaron's, and he was like, "Hey, can you sign the shirt for me?" And he literally just picked the shirt up, just drew a giant X across it, and threw it back at him. And I was like, "What a fucking dick!"
Wow.
I know, right? I get having bad blood with,
Yeah, but that's your fan.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
you must have been having a bad day.
But I get that.
It's not admissible.
Right. Even then, though, when you're in the spotlight.
See, and I'm very
have bad days, but you don't get to be a dick for no reason.
Yeah, I'm very lax on celebrities and stuff being rude to paparazzi. Because let's be honest, you got people literally stalking you.
That is warranted.
Well, yeah, I think that's warranted all the time. But a fan comes up to you, Like, I don't care what kind of bad blood you have. I think that's unnecessary.
Yeah, I think it's acceptable.
Now we're gonna get sued by him for fucking defamation.
I think it's acceptable for
It's not defamation. You've seen the PewDiePie video?
I think it's acceptable for someone like that to kind of say like, hey, leave me alone. Like, I'm not doing autographs right now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, one, it's at a show, so you should be expecting.
Oh yeah, he was signing autographs.
Right. Second of all, I mean, that's just rude.
He's clearly not just a fan of Under Oath. He's clearly a fan of yours personally.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
He picked you out specifically to come to say, like, hey, can you finish this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Aaron Gillespie was the drummer and clean vocalist for that band as well, too. So he played a huge role in Under Oath. You know? It's not like he was just, their third bassist they've had over the course of 10 years or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. Where were we? Oh, My Chemical Romance. Sorry, we kind of went down a rabbit hole there.
We really took a tangent.
Yeah, we really did. But
We're really good at that tonight.
I'm just really excited to have them back because, like I said, they disbanded in 2013. I was 18, so growing up in like a strict Christian household, do you think I was convincing my parents to let me go see My Chemical Romance? Well, hell no.
What are you going to do, though, if you go see them and then they're like, just kidding, that's it now? I mean, are you going to be mad? Or are you going to be like, well, at least they came back so I could see them?
I mean,
I think it would be cool. Just at least they played the show. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. Like, at least I finally got to see them. Kind of like, how I was a huge Never Shout Never fan back in the day, and I always wanted to go see them, and then Christopher Drew just turned into like a huge like walking piece of shit, and now I never want to go see them. Like that. That sucked.
Of character.
Fuck Christopher Drew, honestly. Like, I was a huge fan of his music, and then he got signed to Warner Brothers, and he just there was literally a time where I could play every single one of Never Shout Never songs on every single instrument except for the drums.
Yeah, dude, we were fucking weirdos.
Yeah, we were. I was obsessed. I wanted to be Christopher Drew.
What's that have to do with it, though?
Showed.
Yeah. Huh?
What's that have to do with it?
What do you mean?
You could play every song.
Like, I'm saying that's how big of a fan I was. I learned every single.
Saying he knew all the chords, he knew all the lyrics.
Like I could play every single song live on the guitar, the bass, the ukulele, piano, like every single song. I was that big of a fan. I mean,
fanboyed hard.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know if I call it fanboying, but yeah, I was like obsessed with that band, and I never got the opportunity to see them, and now it's like, well, My Chemical Romance, they've seemed to stay true over the years, so I am really excited to see them. And I want to be honest, I'm almost, I don't want to say I'm glad that they broke up, but think about how many bands out there like have just stayed together, and it's like, dude, just stop.
Just give up.
Yeah. Like it's, and I'm not talking about bands that have grown and changed into different sounds. I will always respect people as a musician to do different things, but there comes a time like I can't even think of an example off the top of your head, or off the top of my head, but there are a couple bands out there. I think everybody will agree where it's like.
I hope you're not thinking of examples off the top of my head.
So, what are some examples off the top of your head, Chris?
I went to a Nickelback concert.
Oh, what the fuck? Get out of here.
In like 2010. This is a decade ago. The tickets were free.
We just lost all of those subscribers.
You lost all respect.
Thanks for tuning in for a couple episodes.
So one of the opening bands was Buck Cherry. I don't know how long it's been since you've listened to Buck Cherry. This was 10.
Take me down.
I get it was 10 years ago, but
the tickets were free and somebody drove me there.
I guess 10 years ago we were like 14 years old as a way to get away from our parents and smoke cigarettes. So. Yeah.
So I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I got free tickets and somebody drove me there. And Buck Cherry was one of those where, like, even when I was 15, I was like, these guys are old. You should not be. You should not be. You guys should just be done. Like, you do make, you made one good song.
What was their Bad Girlfriend or no? Crazy
Bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah,
that is the only song that I listened to during their opening act.
Oh my God, great. That song is so awful. It is awful. But then again, if you like compare those lyrics to like any mainstream rap song, the lyrics aren't any worse.
Well, I mean, at least there are lyrics.
Huh?
I mean, at least there are lyrics.
Yeah, that's true, and it's not just Nicki Minaj repeating the same thing 40,000 times in 5 minutes.
I think we need to get a Down the Rabbit Hole theme song. So every time this happens,
down the rabbit hole. down the rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole with Danny Dangerkind.
Now we have to bleep my last name. No, I'm fucking with you. Yeah, no. So I noticed they're not playing in China though.
Who?
My Chemical Romance.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
What the fuck do you think?
Oh yeah.
You could do like
yeah, but I mean,
didn't Kanye do that though? He played a show in like a bubble. Didn't he get a bunch of shit for that?
Yeah, but
did he?
Yeah.
I could totally see Kanye doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He went and played a show. He played like a whole show in like one of those blow up bubbles.
That's awesome.
My Chemical Romance used to play in Bulletproof Vests.
I don't
so
really
they showed
care
up in
for him, but
Biohazard.
that's awesome.
Right. I might be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
No, I could definitely see Kanye doing that. But like I said, I mean, they used to play in Bulletproof Vests. If they showed up in like Biohazard suits, I don't think anybody would be like, "Well, that's weird." They'd be like, makes sense, I guess. I don't know. Especially after what was their second to last album, Danger Days or something like that. They had that whole weird post-apocalyptic '90s theme going on.
Oh yeah. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Neat. Interesting.
You could be like Guar and just be in full
Oh
costume.
my God, those guys are something else.
I don't know how you do that. That's dedication.
Yeah, it is. It's talent too, honestly.
Yeah.
A dream is to someday have Gerard Way on here and ask him about the song "Sleep." Have you ever it's from the Welcome to the Black Parade album? Have any of you guys listened to that song? Like, I was in my sound engineering class, I believe, junior year of high school, and we had to like mash a bunch of songs together. So I'm just like kind of flipping through my iPad, like listening to different things, and the song "Sleep" came on, and I'd heard the song like 1,000 times, but I'd like never actually listened to like there's a recording of somebody talking in the beginning of the song, and everybody knows I used to listen to it, and it's Gerard Way speaking. He's like, I have these night terrors. It feels like something's gripping my throat. And I'm like, what the fuck's that about? So I just went on Google and looked it up. I think I actually ended up writing a report about it then, too, for that class. So they recorded Welcome to the Black Parade in California in a mansion called I believe it was like the Paramount Mansion. It's like close to Paramount, but not Paramount. And this mansion was more or less a castle. A couple from England moved to California, and as an engagement gift to his wife, he built her this castle that was a replica of another castle in England.
But damn, that's nice of him.
I know, right? They're millionaires. And
it'd be nice to have just like fuck it money.
Yeah. You know, I just just proposed. I'm gonna build this girl a house.
We do have that. Don't tell him.
So,
don't tell Danny.
Late one night, his wife was driving back from like a party or something, and she ended up driving off a cliff and passing away. And I don't think the husband was in with her. I think he ended up like going crazy after her death and killed himself in the house. It was vacant for a while, and then at some point it was turned into like a boarding school for girls and a bunch of other just different fucked up things over the years. And like, you know, places that were boarding schools for girls always have a bad history or are known to be haunted and shit like that if you believe in ghosts. And eventually, over the course of the years, somebody bought the house and turned it into a recording studio, knowing full well the history. Papa Roach actually recorded an album in there as well. And the drummer of Papa Roach went fucking crazy. Now,
I do remember hearing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you've explained some of it, I do remember hearing exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Papa Roach, let's be honest, this guy's did a lot of fucking drugs back in the day.
I mean, most bands did.
Yeah, I'm sure My Chemical Romance probably did too. I don't know.
Did?
Yeah, probably still do. But
do all the time.
No, like the drummer, I believe, like literally went so fucking crazy from it that he left the band. Like that place drove him insane. He said he was having sexual experiences with old Hollywood ghosts.
What?
Like all sorts of fucked up things. Like they would find him out in the graveyard out back in the middle of the night. Like really weird stuff. So My Chemical Romance goes there.
What about the person that owns this though? Are they like?
I don't think they ever even fucking go there. I think they like had it set up as a recording studio and just like, all right, good luck.
Peace. Here's the keys.
Yep. And
okay.
It's just a murder palace.
Yeah, and this is all just going off of like some source I read back in like 2011.
I have a note here. I'm gonna title it
write
Murder Palace.
Murder Palace. So My Chemical Romance, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't have anything written before they went there. They locked themselves in that mansion for a month or two and wrote Welcome to the Black Parade. They had people bring them food, bring them everything. Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, they had them bring them everything. Like they locked themselves in there. And So whenever they first got there, they took a tour of the house, and everybody got to pick their own rooms. It was a mansion, and Mikey Way, the bassist, Gerard Way's little brother, he chose a room called the Blue Room. Like, they all called it the Blue Room because there's just one single light in there and it had a blue bulb in it. And either him or Gerard said that in the middle of the night, like, it's obviously a fancy mansion castle. Everybody had their own personal bathrooms. They would hear, bathtubs filling up in the middle of the night, lights turning on and off, and then Gerard Way started to have night terrors, and that's where he's talking about, like, feels like things are gripping his throat, and just he'd wake up being strangled in the middle of the night. All sorts of crazy fucked up shit.
I think we ought to make it a goal that we do this until we can record a podcast in that studio.
Like just a single episode?
Yeah, or a whole season.
No, fuck that.
Depending on what you guys want to see.
All right, if you listen to, what was it, episode? No, that was last season, wasn't it? Whenever we talked about, me and Alan talked about all the ghost shit.
You have no perception of time at all.
Yeah,
dude,
I don't know, man.
You have no idea
dude,
how busy I am, man. I have no perception of time.
I don't know. You guys touched on it. I don't think we actually had. We didn't talk about it too much.
What, like growing up in haunted houses?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
We definitely had a whole episode.
Yeah,
about
that was
I
like.
just can't remember what season it was.
That was season 1.
Danny was ever put in front of a microphone and hasn't talked about that. I would be really surprised.
Yeah, well, I mean, you remember the shit that happened. I mean, you grew up down the street from me, and
we're gonna. Have
were you ever there
that.
for any weird shit happening?
It was always secondhand for me.
God damn it.
We're definitely gonna have to rehash some ghost stories later on.
Yeah, I gotta get next time Caleb's back from the military. We gotta have him on here because he'll remember stuff that I don't even remember. I mean,
you could make that a recurring, even if it's not like a constant every episode, but you could have that as like a recurring segment.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, ghost stories are fun. That's another one of my fun things I like to talk about. But anyways, so My Chemical Romance, their tour starts September 9th, and it's going to go through March. I'm really excited to go see them in Philly. I think it's at the Wells Fargo Center, so yeah.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. You said you had something you wanted to talk about, didn't you?
Yeah, well, so I saw some stuff about a robotic finger. I think last year, I want to say, there were a bunch of articles going around about how they had generated this sort of like fleshy, like robotic finger that they wanted to use eventually for people that may have didn't have a hand and they wanted to like sort of build this kind of synthetic hand.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of like complication because they were trying to like make it sort of react kind of like human like. So they made this robotic finger, but apparently now technology has given us a robotic finger that can actually sweat to cool itself down.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So apparently it's made out of some kind of a resin.
Yeah.
And it has like pores in it. And I guess when it sort of starts to heat up to a certain point as it's being used, it will the pores will open up and it'll sweat, cooling it down like 6 times, cooling it down, up to 6 times what it had heated up to.
Yeah, I mean, like...
That's crazy. It's like works like the human body.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. I mean, like, using water to cool down computers isn't a new thing by any means. People have been using distilled water, but have it sweat to cool down and, using some sort of technology to know when to do that in such a small piece of technology.
They call it thermoregulatory performance.
What the fuck?
So I know you probably don't know everything on the topic, but what is it? What is the liquid that it's sweating out? Because obviously it's not generating that liquid.
No,
itself.
It's basically like everything that I saw about it. They're saying it's essentially water, but it has something to do with the chemical makeup of the resin that it's formed out of.
Okay.
They said that essentially they think that as of right now, it's only going to sweat so much.
Right.
And they're trying to make it that it sort of regenerates that, whether it's able to draw moisture back in through the air or something, which is why this is a prototype. It's not,
right.
The full release, but, as of right now, it's just whatever mixture the resin was.
So it's just using the water like a heat sink and then pushing the water out.
Pretty much.
With the heat energy in it.
Pretty much.
Like water cooling.
You just put like a little water cartridge in it somewhere, I guess, or I mean that's.
I don't know. Apparently, it's the material itself, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like it regenerates the water.
Well, no, that's what it doesn't have yet. Eventually, it kind of runs out, and the, I guess, resin sort of dries out.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now.
But they're trying to make it in a direction that it can regenerate the water, I guess. It's like a fleshy rubber.
It sounds.
Now, is this using like AI technology?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, not. I guess it's using.
That's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're using the term AI loosely, I guess it would work.
Well, I guess it's
maybe
more
like
of
artificial intelligence knowing when to release that, but that's also timed, I guess, too.
Right, but you can just write a script for that. Just says like if the temp is above this, it's just like a car opening up the thermostat. Like you just make it so it's time released based on the heat.
That's true.
If you look up this sort of sweaty robotic finger, there's a lot of the
definitely make sure you open an incognito window and search sweaty robotic finger.
Leave the safe search on for that one.
A lot of the pictures, it kind of looks like a centipede.
Oh.
Yeah,
like
that makes it so much
centipede.
Better. That makes it way
that
better.
sounds sexy. Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's definitely something I want to watch a lot of videos about.
Damn. So it's just a finger, though. It's not like a whole hand.
Well,
I mean, as of right now, it's just a finger.
Gotcha. And they're growing into different things. So, like,
I guess.
Obviously, this isn't like released
not
to the public
literally
yet or anything.
Growing. Like they're obviously growing the technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the finger's not growing and becoming self-aware, and
they don't just put the finger down and the finger just grows other fingers, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's like, you know what's the weirdest thing is like starfish. Like whenever like if you cut a limb off a starfish, it'll grow a new body. That's wild.
It kind of is, I guess, technically doing. I mean, like the sweating apparently does. It's not like something's telling it to sweat. I mean, the material's doing that on its own when it hits a certain temperature.
Okay, so it's actually like released by the material based on the temperature.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's material based, not actually like a technology based.
I guess.
Okay, so it's.
I'd say a little bit of both, maybe.
So it's almost exactly not AI. It's actually like a physical material reacting.
Kind of.
That's my god, that's insane.
Yeah, like it's doing it on its own.
Like think about like how far that can go in the future. They can make it into like literally a rejuvenating finger at that point. Then it's like far into the future. Like that means saying that you could have a finger made, and you could literally just take a butcher knife and chop that finger off, and eventually it could grow a new finger.
That'd be kind of cool.
Fuck! What if robots get that? Man, we're never beating those.
I don't know if that's what any of this means. I have no idea.
I'm not saying that's what it means. I'm saying that right there could be the start of the, if you want to call it technology for that in the future. You know, because all else is stemmed from somewhere.
Dude, what about like when they did the mouse brain computer?
I heard about that, but I never read up on it.
Crazy.
Like what? Talk about that a little bit.
Like somehow, all right. So I'm trying to remember because this was a couple of years ago, but apparently they like somehow hooked up like electrodes to mouse brains and used it like a computer. Like it was deciding different things. Like they let it the brain decide.
Feeding the mouse's brain information.
Well, they like took, I guess, the brain out of the mouse.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, like they were animating it, kind of like Frankenstein type shit.
That makes this way more terrifying than just like sticking some electrodes on a mouse.
But they I guess somehow they figured out how to tell it to make a decision between this and that, and it like ran through a computer maze. So the brain saw like a maze, but there was no maze.
Oh, okay,
it was
gotcha.
Just through the computer, and somehow they use that, and I don't know.
So they're essentially doing mind control on this mouse
brain, on the mouse brain.
Yeah,
kind of.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like somehow they hooked into like what it could see and showed it a fake maze, computer maze. Matrix maze.
Whatever happened? Didn't somebody do like a brain transplant in a human? Did that ever happen, or was that talked about and just
no?
Never
that was
happened?
completely unethical.
Yeah, I remember hearing like
I know I've heard speculation about actual like full head transplants, but I know they've done facial transplants, like actual like a full face muscle and all, where someone is wearing the actual face with working muscle and blood vessels of a dead person.
I think that
how does it look?
I mean, obviously it's not perfect, like, but it's better than literally having no face.
Yeah. Wow.
I think the thing with the brain was the last that I saw about that. They said that they were kind of worried that, there's this possibility that if they move ahead to another person or whatever, that if something went wrong and it was brain dead, like, we don't know if it's in constant pain or not.
Right.
Oh.
Like, it could just be in excruciating pain and it's stuck alive.
That's awful.
That's always my big worry about being an organ donor, and that's actually something I wrote in an English class about, is when do they consider you brain dead and when do they consider you dead?
Yeah, I'm not an organ donor.
How much do you guys know about organ donating, how it works?
Well, Alan's talked about that before.
It's creepy.
Right, so I read a lot about it. This has been years, but I read a lot about it, and it actually caused me to remove my organ donor from my license when I renewed my license for that reason, and I get shit for it all the time. But
Oh yeah, nonstop. Same here.
So, do you want to know how it works?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So, have you ever seen somebody on like one of those breathing machines where it like
a vent.
forces air
Yeah.
into their lungs? Essentially, after you're dead, they kind of reanimate you with one of those and stuff to keep your body alive, so that they have time to
harvest organs. Yeah.
So after you die, they essentially kind of artificially keep your body alive, and they can sometimes do that up to, I think, a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck all of that.
That's what made me.
And the only
So you're saying is that you're afraid that you could actually still be alive and feel that, and that we just do not know.
Right.
Wow.
Even after they pronounce you dead, he's saying they can literally artificially pump your blood to keep your organs fed in order for them to have enough time to harvest the organs out of your body that they want to use. But they can pronounce you brain dead, but they can't prove that you can't feel or are conscious.
Wow.
And I'm not saying organ donating is a bad thing.
No,
I'm
not trying to discourage anybody from it either.
That's essentially how it works. And
well, there's also the thing with like resuscitation where they'll only try like 3 times and they won't do any more if you're an organ donor because they don't want to damage any of your organs. But if you're not an organ donor, they'll try more. I've heard that. I've heard that as well. I don't know if there's any truth behind it. Just something I've heard. I gotta look it up.
I don't know that I've
because
heard any.
I'm pretty sure that they generally try to resuscitate you basically until they go, yeah, there's no way. Like 3 times. I don't know.
I don't know if those numbers are exactly right, but I know I've heard that somewhere that they'll.
I've heard that before.
I don't know if it's true either. I'm just that's just something I've heard.
Unless you have a DNR, and then
what's a DNR?
Do not resuscitate.
Yeah. How does that work? Do we want to go down that rabbit hole?
I don't know enough about it to talk about it.
Yeah,
in
I don't think
detail.
I do. Do you know anything about it?
I don't know enough about it.
If anybody knows about DNR, tweet us, email us, come on, talk about it. Yeah, we'll put that out there.
Just show up.
How are they gonna?
Sometime.
How are they gonna get in touch with us?
Our email.
What is that?
Darker with Gmail. darkerwithdaniel@gmail.com.
We should change it. It should say darker with email.
Darker with Daniel. Why don't we make Dmail a thing? darkerwithdaniel@gmail.com.
I'll say, if you make a domain, you can absolutely claim that.
Dmail's already got to be a domain, though.
Assuming you claim all of this before you publish this, because someone's going to grab that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we already own the domain to Darker with Daniel.
I like what
Darker with Gmail.
I like what Daniel Tosh does with the list of domains that aren't registered.
Yes.
What does he do with that?
Well, he just
compiles a list.
Yeah, and he'll say like at the end of an episode or whatever, he'll be like, So, by the way, here's a bunch of domains that aren't registered. And it's like stuff, while you're reading it, you're like, I can't believe that nobody has that.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Like,
they're
nuts.
They're not like good domains. It's like Fartbox Kids, like something strange.
Okay.
But like, how is that not registered?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like whenever we were making our Twitter, like Darker with Daniel was already taken, like DWD podcast was already taken, I believe.
But darkerwithdaniel.com is still well and alive.
Yes, it is.
Check it out.
Our Twitter is was it Darker or at Darker Podcast? That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a hard time with that.
You should have notes of all this.
Yeah, I should. Well, I
should definitely have notes of all of this.
But if you do go to darkerwithdaniel.com, you'll be able to find everything.
Yeah, all of our stuff's on there, and it should be linked in our YouTube videos below as well.
Your email address and everything's on there. All your contact info.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All that is on our website. So you're good on that.
Should change the email soon. Yeah. Make it easier.
Yeah. We probably will be changing our email. But I guess to kind of wrap up this episode, if you do want to be featured on an episode, please email us at darkerwithdaniel@gmail.com. You have to send us basically a who, what, when, and why, or where and why. Just so that way we can make sure to continue to bring good content to our viewers more so. I mean,
send Alan get well messages.
Yeah, send Alan get well messages. Hopefully he'll be back next week. I'm sure he will be. He just said he was feeling like absolute garbage today. He was going straight to the doctor after work. So hopefully it's not coronavirus, but fingers crossed. If it is coronavirus, we're hiring for co-hosts. So sorry, Alan. Love you.
So send an email if you.
Yeah. And also include the who, what, when, where, and why on that as well. But yeah, I mean, seriously, we really do want to get guests on here. But like I said, we do want to create good content for our guests. So please, the only way you're getting on here is emailing us at darkerwithdaniel@gmail.com with your information and everything like that. We're on Facebook, Twitter, I believe Instagram. Our podcast is now listed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast.
It'd be easier to list what we're not on.
Which is nothing.
Just look for Darker with Daniel. You'll find us.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally, if you have an Amazon Echo in your house, walk in your kitchen and say, Alexa, play Darker with Daniel, and we will come on. So,
but it is always best to watch our video on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some visual aspects sometimes. And I'm sure we're going to be moving into more in the future seasons and stuff. We're constantly growing, and if any advice, feel free to email us that as well. Pointers, tips, anything like that. And
if you have any info about that sweating finger, definitely let us know.
Yeah, let us know about that. If you have any more information, if we said anything wrong, please feel free to correct us, because we're not experts on anything here.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean,
you heard us talking. So.
Yeah, exactly. If you haven't figured out that we're not experts, you're probably not an expert either. Yeah, so thanks for coming back to us. Hunter, thank you, by the way.
Absolutely.
Need to give you a shout.
Anytime. Appreciate it.
Long-term friend of mine and absolute genius.
And
hopefully,
Alan, thanks for letting me co-host on your behalf.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks good in your spot. No offense.
That sounded really mean. I was like, oh, sounds like something like an ex-girlfriend would say.
I didn't say better. I didn't say better. I said he looks good in your spot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We'll be back next week with a special guest. And actually, we're booked up for the entire month of February. So we have a lot of new exciting guests coming on. Please make sure you stay tuned. Please follow us and support us with your follows and likes on everything if you can. If we're not asking too much about that. And we will see you next week.
Later.